Greetings, everyone. I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number 26 of my favorite keyboard players of all time. That's right, we've been counting down each and every day here this month in July. We're already into the first week, right? We've got the whole rest of the month to go till we count down to our number one favorite keyboard player of all time across all genres: rock, pop, jazz, country, fusion, metal, prog, blues, electronic, dubstep, reggae, you name it, you pick it, right? Pick your favorites. That's what we're doing each and every day. I welcome you to comment on any of my picks in the comments below or in the chat, but more importantly, list your favorite player each and every day, along with the three favorite albums featuring their keyboard skills and their favorite song featuring their amazing keyboard playing. So today, a true American great. He's sadly no longer with us. This is one of the examples of someone who everything that he touched was just majestic, gorgeous, beautiful. Every time I talk about this guy's playing, that's kind of the things I used to say about his contributions, mainly to alongside the work of a guy you may have heard of named Pat Metheny. Today's player, today's pick is none other than the late, the great Lyle Mays from the Pat Metheny group. Pat Metheny solo, did a bunch of his own solo things as well, but most known for his contributions as keyboard player, composer, arranger with Pat Metheny for so many years. Mainly known as a pianist, right? Acoustic and electric piano, but of course also contributed lots of cool synthesizer and organ and other stuff to many of the Pat Metheny group albums that he appeared on. Although, like I said, I mostly think of Lyle Mays as like a kind of like a pianist, right? He's just has that touch, that melodic sensibility that I've always just loved so much. And really, was always the perfect foil to Pat Metheny. Pat Metheny, is considered a jazz and fusion legend among guitar players, but also has that certain sound, right? He doesn't have the raw intensity of like a McLaughlin or a Demiola or a Coriel or any of those guys. He was always the little more laid back, technically amazing, but played with a much silkier tone. And Lyle Mays' keyboard stylings, the perfect foil. I always thought to that. These guys, you'd be hard pressed to find a guitar player and a keyboard player who played together for so long that were more perfectly matched than these two guys. I think they belong together, and it was like such a stroke of genius when they finally first got together on my first album pick for today, which is the Pat Metheny group album, right? So Lyle Mays, Pat Metheny, Mark Egan on bass, and Danny Gottlieb on drums. I've talked a lot about this particular album and this lineup in the past here on the channel. It's a favorite jazz slash fusion combo for me. I really love this band. It's a shame they only stayed together for the first two albums here, but this came out, of course, in 1978. Some amazing things on here. The great San Lorenzo's on here. You got Phase Dance, Jocko, April When April Joy, Lone Jack, all really great stuff. But the cool thing is that Pat and Lyle are already writing together at this point, which is just great. And it's just again, he's Lyle, great soloist, but more about colors and textures and just like kind of like following along with the lead melody lines that Pat is doing. Just so gorgeous. And again, yes, there are synthesizers on here. Believe he was playing the Oberheim right around this time. But man, just acoustic piano, electric piano. That's, if he only used those, I would have been fine with it. Me, I love his synth textures and whatnot throughout the career and the organ and stuff like that. But to me, I always see him as like a pianist. And so it works just so well in this group. Works so well. Next up, we're going to go to the great American Garage. Yeah, I mean, this is a outstanding, outstanding album. To me, from 1979 to amazing how they pumped out these two albums so quickly on ECM Records. There's just killer tracks on here. Again, it's just so melodic. It's so catchy. Cross the Heartland just gets you right in. I always call the music of the Pat Metheny groups kind of like Heartland jazz, Heartland fusion. It's just it's very American sounding, and you get this feeling out by the farms, out in the Heartland, right? It's just breezy and melodic, but musically, some amazing stuff going on here. The great title track here, The Epic, is just blazing on here. Again, Lyle adding all sorts of textures and colors and little solos and things and following Matheny around on his piano, on his synthesizer. There's a little more organ on this album, I believe, than on the debut album, but just so good. And you got the fretless bass of Mark Egan, and just killer stuff, killer stuff. My pick number three is going to be the duo album that these two cats worked on together. As falls Wichita, so falls Wichita Falls. Right, very cool album. And this, when I talk about some of my favorite jazz albums of all time, or fusion albums of all time, or specifically like Metheny's, this rarely comes up in like my top three, but this is the album I want to listen to when I hear a lot of Lyle Mays. Because it's basically just the two of them. You got Nana Vasconcelos on some percussion and little vocals and things like that. But for the most part, this is Pat and Lyle. And you get Pat on all sorts of electric and acoustic guitars. Um, and Lyle, again, playing his electric and acoustic piano. He's got a couple different kinds of synthesizers he's using on this album. He's got organ, right, the auto harp as well. There's some, I mean, you get the epic title track, which is like 20 minutes long. It's amazing. It's just gorgeous. The tapestries that he and Pat are creating together is just amazing. And they co-wrote the whole album together. And it's just brilliant in its compositional sense and its melodic sense. You're going to find other albums where, keyboard players just blaze and do all sorts of ways. This is more about creating moods and emotions within instrumental music, which isn't always easy, right? So great. Ozark is terrific on here. September 15th is great. It's for you. Estupenda Grasa. I mean, just there's some great stuff on here. To me, it's all about the title track and, Ozark, but it's all really, really good. Again, just a beautiful, beautiful album that deserves all the credit that it does get. This is often looked at by many people as one of, Pat and Lyle's greatest achievement together. And I totally get that. Great, great album. So as far as like my favorite song, so again, God, there's so much to choose from. I could have picked anything off the albums I just talked about here, but I decided because I want to squeeze another great album in that they worked on together. I'm going to go to the Off Ramp album and I'm going to pick James. James is a wonderful, lovely little track. It's about 7 minutes long. This is one of the songs on this album that's not kind of drenched in Pat's newfound love for the synclavier and guitar synthesizer, right? There's tons of that on this record. If you look at like the title track and certainly Baracole, but or Are You Going With Me, just to name a couple. But James is really cool because that's more like a traditional Pat Metheny group style track. And he's just playing some silky electric guitar. It's just beautiful. But man, Lyle comes in with wonderful acoustic piano. Like I said, kind of like swirling around him, alongside him, divvying up some of the melodies alongside him. Really beautiful. And then he does like a cool little synth solo later in the track. Just beautiful stuff. And it's just a masterful composition because it's like it just flows so nicely over the course of its almost 7 minute length, but so melodic. It's like it's just proof that you can have music like this without vocals, where the instruments are carrying those melody lines and you don't miss someone there singing at all. It's just beautiful. James is a terrific song. It's always been one of my favorites on here. And very, very cool album. And one not to be missed if you're a fan of Lyle Mays. So yeah, that's my pick for song, James, from Off Ramp. And then of course we've got American Garage, Pat Metheny Group, and the Wichita album are my three favorites, featuring the playing of this guy right here, Mr. Lyle Mays. So let us know what you think of Lyle down in the comments below, as well as your pick for today. Turn around so see my awesome Four Fusion Friday shirt. Yes, George, Eric, and myself in all our glory. There we are right here. Yeah. So, in fact, if you didn't get to see the cab episode from Friday night, please go back and watch that. If you're watching the show and you're like Lyle Mays and you like Fusion, you haven't watched For Fusion Friday on Friday, this past Friday, please go do so. Very, very fun episode. Essentially, it's also a ranking the albums of Cab, the great Fusion supergroup with Tony McAlpine, Bunny Burnell, Dennis Chambers, and Brian Auger. So go check that out. So anyway, I digress. So yeah, let us know what you think of Lyle down in the comments below, as well as your pick for today and your three favorite albums and favorite song, all that stuff. You know the deal. Coming up programming. So I do apologize. So I totally dropped the ball yesterday. I left the house. I was out with mom for a bunch of hours during the late morning into the early afternoon. And I remember sitting here in the morning after doing the morning show and getting a couple other things done. I'm like, all right, I got to post uh, the UK Connection and the Review Crew episodes for today. So that's all done. I don't have to worry about it. And literally, it was like 4 o'clock. I already got done with that. I came back home and then I went to Chris Allis' house to watch the Black Sabbath pay-per-view. And I'm sitting there driving. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't post either of those episodes. And meanwhile, it's like 4 o'clock and UK Connection was already supposed to air at 2. And I'm going to Facebook, I'm looking at my messenger, and there's texts from Steven and Simon and George. And it was like, where's the show? Where's the show? I'm like, oh man, I totally, totally forgot it. So for all of you who were ready to watch UK Connection yesterday, fear not. It's going to air today. It's already up on the channel at 2 p. Same time, just one day late. Sorry. So for those of you who are ready and willing to watch part two of our look at UK and US bands who are huge in one country, not the other, part two, the finale is coming up today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the States this afternoon on Sunday. So that's coming up today. We did run the review crew episode last night, Jamie Laszlo and myself, looking at first half of 2025, our 20 favorite albums from the year so far. It's kind of like a half year in review type of thing. So make sure you check that out. We got coming up this morning in just a little bit. We've got two ranking the album shows. I haven't even recorded them yet, so I'm doing them immediately after I do this. We've got Grand Prix, very cool hard rock, melodic rock, pop rock band from the 80s featuring Bernie Shaw and Phil Lanzon on the first, and then you got Robin McCauley, Phil Lanzon and company on the second two albums. Really, really great, great albums. So go check that out. And then Possessed, the seminal California early death metal slash thrash band, three albums there as well. So we're going to be ranking those two. So lots of stuff coming up today. So you got the two ranking the album shows. You got the UK Connection coming up this afternoon. And then we've got tomorrow. Oh, also, before I forget, my interview with Lawrence Gowan from Styx is coming at you tonight. Doing that also this morning. Lots happening here at the compound this morning. So yeah, Lawrence and I are talking later this morning about the new Styx album and the tour and all that stuff. So that's coming up. Very cool interview with Lawrence Gowan from Styx. And then tomorrow we've got the Hudson Valley Squares, and Tuesday we have In the Prague Seat. So it's a busy week here at SOT. Make sure you check it all out. This is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we get the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options all down below. Thanks in advance for all your support, folks. Greatly appreciated. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I am Pete Pardo. Have a good one. Bye-bye.